Guys, how doofy do I look in the first 10 seconds of this video? Like before the countdown, and then again after the theme music. I'm tired, y'all. I'm looking at this bottle, this glass of wine I've got. I haven't taken a sip because I don't believe in drinking and streaming really that much. I get so flustered. So I'm like, come on. Almost there, almost there. You guys, thank you so much for being here again for another Vanderpump Rules recap. Chevy Lynn, you're here every single week. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming over and chatting and all of your opinions and everybody else who's here as well. So you guys, can you please rate the other night's episode of Vanderpump Rules on a scale of 1 to 10? I personally would give it a 7-8. I know people claim that the show would be over without Stassi, without Kristen, without Jackson, Brittany, but I am personally loving it. Like I said in other recaps in the past, I feel like all of these little side characters, so to speak, now have the opportunity to really showcase their personalities, and I'm loving it. I truly am. So I gotta say, at the top of the episode, of course, Tom Sandoval would think to have sparklers for everybody to throw up confetti at James and Raquel when they finished with their proposal and engagement for a perfect shot. It was beautiful and I loved it, and it was so like him. One thing that I thought was quite cute in this episode was that his girlfriend, Tom Sandoval's girlfriend, Ariana Maddix, seemed quite open now to the idea of getting engaged to him. She's like, you know what? If someone proposed to you the way that James proposed to Raquel, and she knows, by the way, that Tom Sandoval is behind the proposal with a festival named after you and all of this other stuff, how could anybody say no? You guys, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that the bone that I have to pick with this relationship between Ariana and Sandoval is that they want different things, essentially, with Sandoval wanting marriage and children, Ariana not wanting either of those things. And I always felt like they would be better suited for other people who more corresponded with what it is that they're looking for. But now seeing that she kind of cracked the door open and seemingly is ready to get engaged to Tom Sandoval, that makes me happy for him, especially because I know that he wants to do all of this stuff for her. And I think that that is why he's poured himself into everybody else's proposals and weddings, because he's always kind of known in the back of his head or thought that it would never happen for him. So he gets to live vicariously through his friends. Hi, Josephine. And look at this cute little baby. Hi, Grace. I don't actually watch the show anymore, but I really love your reviews. So here I am. Thank you so much for being here, Josephine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, I am really excited to know that there is a possibility for Tom Sandoval and Ariana Maddix getting engaged. Although I have to say that I'm a little bit nervous because who knows? Will it actually lead to marriage? Will it actually lead to the babies that Tom Sandoval wants? I don't know. She might just want the proposal, but not, and maybe want the wedding, but not the actual marriage. And still, she might not be down for kids. So they still might be at least a little bit mismatched. So while, that does make me a little bit apprehensive for them. Now, you know how last week Lala really came for Brock and Sheena's relationship? This week was no different. They were all hanging out at the house after Archella, and Sheena announces that she needs to go home to pump for the baby. Her boyfriend, Brock, goes, okay, bye guys, welcome to parent life. What does Lala say? Welcome to parent life. You have 2 other children that you haven't seen in 4 years. Calm down. You're not going to be called Dad of the Year anytime soon. She really has it out for him, and I don't blame her. I think that deadbeat dads disgust anyone, right? it's disgusting that someone would have kids and leave them, especially the way that he has. But I think it hits different when you are a parent, the way that she is now, especially with a newborn, and she's really thinking about all of this. Like, can she imagine herself if Randall up and left, her with the kid alone? Like, yeah, I think that for that reason, she's especially disgusted by him. But I'm happy to see her, call it out and not really kind of mince words with it. I feel like oftentimes people have these thoughts, but they don't express them and they kind of let people skate by. But she's really holding his feet to the fire, and I love it. I seriously do love it. Hi, Yan Yan. Thanks for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, we then find out in the next scene that Tom Sandoval and James both split $25,000 for his proposal to Raquel, for James's proposal to Raquel. I personally thought, let me know in the comments if you disagree, but I personally felt like $25,000 was a little bit steep for an engagement, for a proposal. Like, Raquel works as a waitress at Sir. They're both on the show. They kind of have like a modest car. It's a Volkswagen. They've got a modest apartment and everything. James, he's DJing, but he doesn't really have solid gigs, especially with the whole COVID shutting everything down. The show was kind of like on hiatus for a little bit too, because COVID shut down the restaurant and stuff. So I didn't really think that it was the wisest use of money, but I digress. Maybe you guys felt a little different. But one thing I will say, though, is that I do believe that Raquel deserved a $25,000 proposal and $1 billion ring for putting up with DJ James Kennedy the way that she has all of these years as his long-suffering girlfriend. So, on one side, I am happy for her. Julie says, did you know 25,000? I love a good RHOBH reference. Was the only thing in my head when I heard how much Sandoval paid. Hashtag Dana Wilkies, hashtag RHOBH. How could I have forgotten about that? But yes, now that you bring it up, 25,000. Did you know? It was shocking to me how much money was paid. And just like Chevy's asking, why was Tom paying 12.5K out of his own pocket? I don't understand it either. Like, we saw him cashing the checks and stuff, like paying off the vendors last week's episode. But it's weird. I think Shan's always moderating and like providing some insight. But I believe that she said that she feels as though Tom Sandoval was doing something. Oh, she's here. I was doing something like that because he likes like the hero edit, and he likes the attention that he gets for going all out for his friends. And I have to admit, I'm one of those kind of like basic BITCHs who falls for it and kind of like swoons over him because of all that he does, even if it is a little bit ridiculous. Here she is, by the way, you guys. Shan says, girl, I've been waiting for you to talk about this episode. I'm so excited you're doing it. Hello to my fellow co-reporters. Thanks, girl. And she says that Tom paid that much because he is team too much. And you know what? It's true. He is team too much. And you know what? I felt like Tom Schwartz was very reasonable when he said, you know what, like $25,000 is way too much money to be spending on a proposal that's, first of all, not yours. And second of all, especially when we're out here crowdfunding for money for our restaurant, from our family, our friends, we're mortgaging our houses, and you're out here spending all this money. It's wild. It really is. So, of course, Tom can never be reasonable 100% of the time, right? Like, one step forward, 2 steps back, because what does he do next? He goes, by the way, I was so impressed with the way you threw a proposal for James Kennedy that I want you to name the bar. What does the proposal have to do with naming the bar, sir? And then he claims, and I actually believed him like the dummy and the basic B I am, that he did not hate the name of the bar anymore. And of course, Sandoval was really excited and happy about that. But then it turns out that Schwartz was lying, because he wakes up the next day in bed with Katie, and he goes, oh, by the way, I don't really love the name of the bar, but I told Sandoval that he can name the bar, and I'm going to learn to love it. This guy is so freaking spineless. He really, really is. Like, dude. And I just bet you, I just know it. And I just know it. Hi, Ramel. Welcome back. I just know that he absolutely is going to throw Katie under the bus yet again. He really is. I'm so over him. Kimberly says that Tom needs to be managed there. I said it. He absolutely does. If you're talking about Schwartz, like he is like an overgrown child. It's crazy. But, or maybe you're talking about Sandoval because the way he was spending this money makes him crazy too. Chevy says, but then he went to Katie and said he's going to learn to love it. Right? Like, pick a lane. That's one thing I really cannot stand about him. And just like Yan Yan says, he is such a PUSSY, and no one knows how the hell Katie manages him. Shen says he's clearly foolish with money. Maybe that's why he stayed in that grimy apartment for as long as he did. Oh my God. Do you remember that apartment where they couldn't like open a window and do this at the same time? Run the microwave if the air conditioner or if the dishwasher was running. I don't even know how they managed to stay in there for so long, while they were making that kind of money. It was crazy. So it's 8:20 a.m. It's time to clear out of the house, clean it up and everything to get that deposit back. And then we see Ariana and Tom in this nasty bed. So I see the duvet is all covered in makeup or something red. And then if you look closely, I didn't get the greatest screen grab, but it looks as though, do you know how Tom peed on his like white faux fur jacket last week? It looks like he might have peed a little bit on his own pillow as well. I don't know if you see that stain on the top left there, but that is exactly what it looks like to me. And I was kind of like, damn, dude, damn. Now, what happens next, you guys? What happens next? So James Kennedy calls up Lisa to tell her about the engagement. And so he talks about the ring and how it was from Tiffany or something. And I kind of like the little nod to his mom being like, how was I a bad mom to you? You took your first steps at Tiffany's, as if that means anything, right? With like the ring coming from there or the rock particularly. But did you guys kind of feel like Lisa was a little bit of an asshole when she was like, oh, so only the rock is from Tiffany and not the setting, so it's not really a Tiffany's ring? I kind of would have just like bit my tongue on that if I were her, but like I guess that is just how I am personally. You guys are like, so you. Let me put it back up there just to gross y'all out about the bed that Ariana and Tom were sleeping in. Look at that. Filthy, filthy, filthy. Pee on the pillowcase, allegedly, and makeup all over that duvet. How did it get all over that duvet? I guess we'll never know. But yeah, I kind of felt like Lisa was a little bit douchey when she was like, oh, so it's not a Tiffany ring. I personally didn't love it, but I digress. So Katie and Tom are really opening up this episode about their struggle to conceive a child. And this to me was the highlight of the episode, and it's why I rated it so high. And so they decide that they're going to get his sperm and her eggs tested to make sure that they are viable, and that they are, I don't want to say healthy. I don't know if it's a good word to use, but healthy to have a baby with. And so Tom was a little funny. He had one of his little funny, clever moments where Katie's reading the instructions for his ejaculation manual. And she goes, the recommended period of abstinence from ejaculation is between 2 to 7 days. And what does he say? He goes, okay, I think we're good there because, they famously like to talk or almost complain about how they don't really have intercourse with each other. And so I thought that was a little bit funny there. Ramel really wants Katie to leave Tom, and I don't blame you because, yeah, he's constantly throwing her under the bus. Hi, Kaja. She says, I'm rooting for James and Raquel. That's nice, but this episode, it seems like everybody was rooting against them. And we're going to get to that a little bit more later. It was crazy. Some of the stuff that people said directly to Raquel's face about, pledging to marry James Kennedy. So I do have to add though, really quickly, guys, before we move on, that I really liked Katie's confessional haircut. Here you're going to see it here, like it's very blunt, kind of like a bob, and I think it looks beautiful on her, a lot better than that Karen haircut that she was sporting earlier. But I really liked the way that they were really vulnerable and open about how difficult it is for them to conceive. They were talking about how all summer, there's a better look at her haircut, they were trying to conceive and it just was not happening for them. And all of their friends all around them were conceiving. And, that was kind of a little bit of a kick in the teeth for them. Can we get into this EMS workout that Katie and Ariana were doing afterwards? By the way, those two instructor girls who came over, they were so skinny. I thought Lala was super skinny. I thought Sheena was super skinny pre-baby, but these girls to me kind of even blew them under out of the water. I was like, "Oh, wow, is that what this stuff does?" They are so thin. And they said that 20 minutes on this is the equivalent to like a couple of weeks on like the real gym or whatever. And that was quite impressive to me. It's like a machine that like gives you contractions all over your body whenever you do like little muscle movements, like mimicking exercise basically. And I thought that was kind of cool. But Lala, she's so lucky. Like she's had a baby and she's already tinier than people who have not even had a baby yet. Like me, I'm like, oh my God, that is not freaking fair at all. Yeah, Amaya's like, Katie looks good. She really does. Let me just pull up her photo again because I am loving this new look on her. Adrienne says, I'm still confused why Tom and Ariana are still together. It feels like they're wasting each other's time. Well, that's the thing. It really does feel like it. But I kind of feel like this week's episode, Ariana at least cracked open the door when she was like, like who wouldn't say yes to a proposal like that? And Tom kind of hinted that a proposal or an engagement or whatever could be potentially on the horizon for the two of them. So there's a little bit of hope there. Though, like you, I'm worried that she might not want to go through the wedding. She might not want the paper signed the way Tom and Katie didn't have those papers signed for years, or she might not want the baby. So they are kind of fundamentally not compatible. And you are totally right, Ramel, that LVP is a shady, shady woman. So after the little EMS workout, Katie and Lala sit down and Lala kind of fills Katie in on Brock's deadbeat nature. And before that, Katie tells Lala that she and Tom have been struggling to conceive. They've been working on it for at least 5 months and nothing has happened for them so far. And it was sad, but I really appreciated the vulnerability because I feel like, there's probably so many couples that can relate to what it is that she and Tom are currently going through. And, it takes a lot to open up about something like that. So here's the weird thing. Tom, her husband, did not want to get his sperm sample with her in the house. He called the other Tom, his true soulmate, his true lover, to come over to the house for moral support while he jerks off in the cup. I really, really loved Lala's kind of quip about this. She's like, what is Sandoval there to jerk him off? Like, what is he there for? And it was so funny, but that's what I was kind of feeling like too. Like, you guys, like, there's something really going on there. Like, their relationship is odd. Like, it started off as funny, but I think there's a little bit of seriousness beneath all of these jokes. Ariana froze her eggs recently. Oh, okay, well, that's exciting then. I guess maybe it means that she is kind of open to the possibility of having kids after all. So Sandoval, like Shan said a little bit earlier, being team too much, comes into Schwartz's house. Oh, I shouldn't have worded it that way, but I'm sorry. With a picnic basket full of treats for him to jerk off with. And so he's like, I brought you some lube. I would have gotten you the heated lube, but I know you like a cold HJ. How does Sandoval know that Schwartz likes a cold HJ? I'm joking. Schwartz probably told him, but listen, based on how their relationship is, I wouldn't be surprised if he knew from firsthand information. And then he also got him a mask so that he wouldn't accidentally squirt himself in the face. And then you see that black thing over there between the jelly and the purple and the basket. It is one of Gwyneth Paltrow, her vagina candles. So he's like, this one, I'm loaning it to you. I was like, oh, you're only loaning him the candle. So he's going to jerk off, blow out the candle, and then pick it up with his jerk off fingers and give it back to you. Sure, he'll wash his hands or whatever, but still, it's just weird. I heard they were expensive though, so maybe I get it. So in this photo, you see Sandoval going upstairs to jerk off, and Tom Sandoval is down there just kind of like dancing around, like, waiting for Sandoval upstairs to finish jerking off. I'm like, I didn't see him like play music so that he wouldn't have to hear it or anything. Like, I'm pretty sure there's like sounds or something, some grunting or something when that goes down, but there was none of that. Like, this is wild, you guys. Absolutely wild. Their relationship is crazy. Tom has hero syndrome. Yeah, I could totally see that. Like, he really gets off on it. Um, Mommy and Marie goes, weird. It really is. Their relationship is absolutely crazy. I'm going to go back and put that picture of a friend patiently waiting downstairs for emotional support while his married friend goes upstairs and jerks off. Like, is that like really like Katie couldn't have shown him some boobies or something, like done a little something, something to get him there? Like, Sandoval had to go. I have to ask you, ladies, would you be offended if your man did not want your help for them to reach a certain point and instead chose to have their guy friend come over and help them? You know, like, that's interesting. It's interesting. I personally would be offended, but I'm not surprised because, again, this couple just does not have a very intimate kind of bond with one another. Shan says, darn work, I keep missing the chat. Okay, I'm back. Welcome back. I wouldn't be able to finish if there was a friend and a film crew in the house. Right? Like, it is so awkward. But you know what? One thing I got to say is thank God they did not include the real sound, because sometimes these people will like include the moans on like Too Hot to Handle and stuff. But I'm really thankful that they did not include it here. So after that little situation, Lala talks to Katie about Brock being a deadbeat dad. She's like, you know what? By the way, Sheena's baby daddy has a bunch of kids, well, two other kids, I should say, and he hasn't spoken to them in 4 years. And Katie is just disgusted by the whole thing. You could really see it in her face. By the way, she's looking so good this season. Like, she's really stepped it up in the fashion department, and like her hair looks really good there. And yeah, she's just really kind of disturbed by it. But then the scene kind of ends there. We didn't really get too much of it, but we did kind of hear Lala talk about how like this is a big risk for Sheena. Like, Sheena, how do you know that this man is not going to up and leave you? If you break up, she should say when, because Lala knows, or she says that they're going to break up. Like she said it in the previous episode, that they're inevitably going to break up. So it's kind of like, yeah, like, is he going to leave you with the kids alone like he did with the other women that he was married to? And then Lala also talks about how Sheena is constantly ignoring red flags because she's kind of like thirsty to be in a relationship. And, I feel like, I get it. I really do get it. Like, I think that it can be interpreted as a little bit shady on one hand, but on the other hand, I think that you can also say that she's just being real. Like, I think she's just telling her feelings, which are honest about the state of her friend's relationship. And I, as a friend, always appreciate this. I always tell my friends, if there's something like sketchy about my relationship or whatever, let me know, because when you're in these things, you don't see them from the outside. So like, you want people to tell you. Like, I wish, like, I think about some of my friends' relationships. Well, one in particular, this girl's marriage, where I wish that I could have told her, like, from the very beginning, that this was not going to end well. The red flags were everywhere, you know? But I unfortunately didn't, because she had already eloped and gotten married with someone that she barely knew. Like, she literally didn't know. And so she comes back and she tells me that she's married and stuff. And I was kind of like, red flag, red flag. The red flags were everywhere, but like, I couldn't say anything because she'd already done it. So what can you say as a friend, And I don't know. Like, I'm happy that Lala is being open about it. Julie says, James said on Watch What Happens Live that timing is suspicious with Lala talking this week's episode about baby daddy cheating, leaving, and suddenly Randall and Lala have their scandal. Ooh. Do you think that he's intimating that potentially Lala and Randall are faking it to drive that storyline? Ooh. We'll see, eh? Only time will tell. That is true. A lot of people do believe that the cheating stuff between Lala and Randall is staged for a little bit more attention on the show, her book, or whatever, her position to secure it for the next season. Tatiana says, I could not date, let alone have a baby with a man who doesn't take care of his kids. Right? Like, it is the biggest freaking turnoff. This is past behavior is a good predictor for future behavior. I feel he was really trying to make a living in America, but the mom was salty and kept the kids away. He clearly wasn't happy about leaving them. But can't he, as a man, go back to visit them every so often? Like, is he banned from entering Australia? Like, that is my question in that regard. And if that was the case, would you not choose your kids and your family over your job in America. Like, he came from Australia. There's a lot of opportunity in Australia. That's why I have a tough time, mommy and me, with like kind of like sympathizing with him. Mormel says, hopefully the show ends soon. I honestly don't know why it's still on air, but I'm loving your review. Thank you so much. I have heard a lot about that too, but I'm liking seeing the background characters a little bit more. Lala was making me so mad this episode. Who the F does she think she is to question anyone? Also, Sheena already has the baby, so it's not like she can change anything. See, that's the thing. Like, when it came to my friend who had already eloped, it's kind of like, well, in Sheena's situation, Lala's situation, and Sheena already had the baby. So maybe be a little bit more sensitive, especially with how, early on postpartum Sheena currently is. So next up, what happens? James is always apologizing for his bad behavior. So he sends his fiance Raquel to Sir with an apology gift from Max, who he cursed out, called a fat fuck. No wonder you don't have a girlfriend. You're a fat fuck. All these nasty things. So he's like, I got him a virtual reality headset. Give this to him and he'll forgive me. And then he kind of talks about the ring a little bit, and he tells Raquel, be careful, don't bump it into anything or it'll break. Raquel's like, wait a second, what? Like, I thought this was like a good diamond ring. Like, what do you mean it'll break? And he's like, seriously, you shouldn't even be wearing it to work. It's $100,000 ring on your finger, like all of this stuff. And at that point, when he said specifically that it is a $100,000 ring, I'm sorry, but I have to call BS. Because yeah, it's Tiffany or whatever, but the diamond is Tiffany and it is 2 carats, which is a very expensive. To me, from what I know about 2 carats, they're anywhere from like 20,000 maybe to $40,000. And you can even get 2 carats for less. You can even get 2 carats for 10,000, right? Depending on like color, cut, and clarity. But he's saying he got the best of the best. It's Tiffany. Okay, but Tiffany doesn't have the prices on their website, but I did a little bit digging, and like I read that it's anywhere from 20 to 40, 50, 60, like that kind of a range. I don't believe that James Kennedy paid $100,000 for that ring. And then when you look at the setting, it's a beautiful classic plain band. So I just don't see it. $100,000 where? And he said that he got a discount, like a really good deal on the ring when he proposed and everything, because he knows the jeweler. So why would he be paying $100,000? Do you believe that he paid $100,000 for that ring? I personally have to call BS at this point. And if he paid that much, the quality would be there where he would not be paranoid about her breaking it. To me, it's kind of like, do you think it's a ring pop? Did you not pay that much? Like, is it one of those really good synthetic diamonds, like that can pass as a diamond? What is really going on? Yeah, I don't know. Ramel says he doesn't know why Lala would care. It's not her baby daddy. True. No problem, Kaja. Well, we did just need to so he couldn't travel for at least a year, but a year. He said that he hadn't seen the kids in 4 years. So that's the thing, 4 years is a very long time to go without seeing your own kids. I can't even go without seeing my nephew for more than, a year or whatever. I had to this year because of the pandemic, but as soon as the restrictions were lifted, I went straight back there. So I can't even imagine, with my own kids. Mommy and me, I see that point, but when in America, you could live in the same country and the mom still keeps them away. That's true. That does happen sometimes. Perry Flower says, it's ironic that Lala had so much to say about Sheena's relationship when her focus should be her own relationship. That's the thing. Like, she really acted like she was in this solid relationship when we all know how she got with Randall. Allegedly, of course. Wasn't she a mistress? So for her to be preaching to anybody, to me, yeah, it's like you're just setting yourself up to, to be clowned by your man. Because let me tell you, these men will embarrass you every time. So never brag about a man. Mommy says, dude, my $5,000 ring looks much bigger and better than that. LOL. So you don't believe it. You don't believe it. See, I do not believe. I would like to see an appraisal certificate. On Watch What Happens Live, he didn't answer Andy when he asked if the ring really was $100,000. Okay, there you go, you guys. There you go. No, it's not $100,000. Even if the rock itself is Tiffany's, it was not $100,000. It's a 2-carat diamond. If he had $100,000 budget, would he spend it on 2 carats? I do not believe so. I believe he would go up to 3 or 4 carats, maybe even 5. I don't think if you can do a 5, I don't think he would have spent it on 2 carats. Not that there's anything wrong with 2 carats. It's amazing, but no, no. I'm with Kimberly, maybe 10,000, because you can. There's a website called like Rare Carat or something like that where you can get like a good 2 carat for like $10,000. Perry says, I know a mom who's an immigrant and she hadn't seen her daughter in like 7 years. Now that is brutal. That is brutal. I wonder if it was for visa issues, because I'm from Canada. So in Canada, if you're trying to get a visa or something there, you can't leave the country for a couple of years. So in that case, I get it. Maybe it's the same thing in the US. Maybe there is something there, you guys. I'd have to look into it. Shan says, I have so much to say about the ring. I'm not sure if you've already said it because I was away from my phone. Please tell us, Shan. I'm saying that I do not believe that this ring cost $100,000. Based on James's paranoia, and like someone else said earlier, he would not answer Andy if he asked on Watch What Happens Live if it was $100,000 ring. I'm inclined to believe that he's lying and he's exaggerating. $100,000 ring, but your girlfriend is still a waitress at Sir. I get it that it's for the show and everything, but if you had this kind of budget, she would be kind of like an Ariana, like a Sheena, like a Lala, no longer working at the restaurant. You'd be taking care of her. You would not, in my opinion, be rolling around in a Volkswagen. And I don't believe that they would be renting that small apartment either. It just does not make any sense. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Not to diss anything, though, but, that's just how I feel. So I got a question. Sheena's so basic. She is the queen of the basics, I swear. I like her, but she's very, very basic. The priorities and stuff are just all wrong. So she talks about how her daughter is this huge Instagram star, and she can't wear things more than once it's posted on Instagram, What did you guys think about that? Was that not obnoxious and ignorant and embarrassing? I hope she was joking for the show, but it was really ridiculous. I hope she's not teaching her daughter to be so wasteful and so vain and everything like that. And she was bragging about the fact that her daughter had 100,000 followers, and she passed the amount of followers that her dad had before she was even born. Listen, I will put this out here, and I don't want to offend any of you whose kids have you who have social media for your own kids that you run yourself. It's weird. This is my opinion of that. It's weird for a parent to, especially before the kid is even here, to make an Instagram for a kid that's not even here yet and talk as if they are the kid in utero. She was probably, I got to go look at that account. I don't look at children's Instagram accounts because I think it's weird for an adult to, but I digress. But I imagine Sheena being the type to post all these sonograms oh, I'm kicking in the belly. I'm doing this. Mommy, I can't wait to that. To me is just so bizarre. And I always wonder, why are these people not concerned about the fact that so many grown people want to follow their children on social media? To me, it would make me uncomfortable. It really would. I think that they're very naive and innocent. They think that everybody is good. But sorry, there's a lot of creepy, evil people in the world. People are saving your children's photos. They're doing God knows what with it, because at that point, once it's out there, it's for everybody. It's their property too. They could download it, do whatever they want to do with it. They're bullying your kids. They're doing all sorts of things. A lot of people don't like these girls. And a lot of times, viewers are unhinged and they'll take it out on the kids. They really will. So I don't know, why they love this kind of stuff. Katja says, I have another child that's raised by my ex-husband. We split time with, by the way, the 2 kids put primary. My daughter's with me and my son is with him. We don't know his situation, but he should see them. I agree. Adrienne says, not to be shady, but my ring is 2.5 carats and was appraised at just over 20,000. And mine is not as simple as that one. Ooh, thank you for this. Yes, if you guys have a ring in this carat range, please tell me, not to be gauche, but yes, right? That's what I thought, 10, 20, 30, 40,000, but 100,000, no, it doesn't make sense. Thank you so much, Adrienne. When James didn't answer, Raquel looked at her ring confused, right? She's like, what is going on? What is this? Like I said earlier, ring pop? Where's it? Shan, what's your opinions on this? I'm going to see. Lala should definitely stay out of Brock and Sheena's situation. Agreed. Yup. Okay, so Shan says, okay, I'm going backwards because I wasn't able to chat earlier. The ring may have been appraised at about $100,000. That doesn't mean it cost $100,000. What does that mean? Also, the setting is a Tiffany style setting. It doesn't mean the ring is from Tiffany. I think he totally pulled the wool over Raquel's eyes. So did he go on eBay? Did this man go on eBay, buy a Tiffany & Co. box and propose with that? Is that what that look at my hair, a mess. Is that what that is? Because wow, like that is a whole new level of desperate if so. Huh. Kimberly's like, this is weird for me. Oh. Yes. Yeah. Big cap, big cap, big cap, already exploiting her child as well. Speaking of this, you guys, I have an entertainment lawyer who's going to be on my channel next Tuesday to talk about children like this who are born into reality TV and influencer children who are like put on social media for the parents to make money off of them. If you guys want to come in and talk about that and what the rights that children have in the future, definitely feel free to drop by. It's going to be next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what is happening next? So sorry, you guys, I got a little bit off track here. I was just so like, are you kidding me about that ring and the lies? So here comes Lala really pressing the issue with Sheena again. Is she doing too much, y'all? I get her concern when it comes to Sheena and this potential deadbeat man, but is she doing too much? Because remember, they were not even really friends at this point. They had fallen out and they're just getting to know each other again as friends. So I feel like she might have been kind of, overstepping her bounds here. So they're at that clothing store and Lala asks her, how did you find out that he had 2 kids? Sheena claims that he told her from the first date, he whipped out a picture and everything. And then she talks about like the situation and stuff, but you can never really believe Sheena 100% because she likes to embellish and cover things up. And like, she doesn't want to be publicly embarrassed. Lala gives her a little bit of a advice, which is, I'm not going to pigeonhole him to his past or whatever, his past relationship, but I also wouldn't be stupid. And I also wouldn't turn a blind eye to everything that he's done. There is a chance that this could happen to you. And what does basic Sheena say? Do you remember what basic Sheena said to this? She goes, he loves his kids. Sure, he hasn't seen them in 4 years, but he's got like every morning he drinks coffee with a mug with their faces on it, and he's got their faces as the background of his I'm gonna put a link for Shannon, and he's got their faces as his background on his computer. Like, she's just so easy to fool. She really is. Shan, please drop on in. This is nice. I'm excited to get your take on video here. Shan, I really want you to anchor these with me, these recaps. You're so good. This is how I feel about Kale and Shy, who update the accounts like crazy and use them for money. It's wild. Like, we're really gonna dig in to that with an entertainment attorney. It's gonna be so good, you guys. Am I the only one that thinks that Sheena is still playing karma for her married men situations? Ooh, I think it might be it. You might be right, Tatiana. I didn't even think of that, but you might be right. I'm telling you, James probably went on eBay and got that damn ring. So now, what happens next? Oh, Max. Oh, you guys, when he told Raquel to her face that she might, first of all, he goes, congratulations, Raquel, on your engagement. Then he goes, you might be making a mistake, but we'll see. Was that fair? I know Max is beefing with James. I know they're not in the best place. I know that James said a lot of nasty, degrading things about him. But was it fair for Max to tell Raquel to her face that she might be making a mistake with that engagement? Let me know in the comments. Look who's here in the meantime. Hi, Shan.
Girl, I'm so glad you're doing this.
Thank you. I'm loving our matching slick bags.
Yeah, aka hair wash day. We see each other.
I gotta watch this after this stream. So tell me, what do you think about everything? I want to know all your opinions.
Oh, girl, I wish I could look at my notes, but I'm on my phone. Okay, so where do I begin? Oh, okay. Did you talk about Lisa, talking to Katie about conceiving and trying? Why are you talking to your boss about that? / partner, but boss?
Yeah. I felt the way that Lisa kind of asked it was a little weird. So we're skipping ahead here a little bit, you guys.
Oh, sorry. Where were you?
No problem. I'm going to grab the photo because this is a good point. Because towards the end, Lisa, she's sitting down in the scene talking to Katie about their struggle to conceive, but she kind of started it off weird. She's like, Tom told me that, like, he's sending his semen in to get a specimen test. So why would he do that if you guys weren't even trying? I was like, why did you say that? Like, that's so presumptuous.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? A, presumptuous. B, why are you talking to your staff? Like,
I know.
she has EP on the show, right?
I think She really is. This episode particularly, she had like a couple of comments where you're like, oh, you're really trying. You're really trying to move this story along. But she's always been like that. She's always meddled in their business. Like all the engagement parties are at her house and stuff. She knows who's banging who and stuff. So yeah, it's par
Okay,
for
you're
the
right.
course.
As always. As always, you're right. I think Lala, why was it the storyline that she was going so hard about Sheena's man and acting like it's coming from a friend's point of view? It's already done. They have a kid together. What do you think you're going to accomplish saying all this to her?
Well, that's the thing, right? They already have a kid together. Is she trying to deflect from the issues in her own situation? Do you think?
I gotta go. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Bye. Thank you. Oh, Shanna's amazing. So she works in healthcare. She's able to sometimes pop in and moderate and even like give her opinions as well. Thank you so much for dropping by, Shan. Our healthcare heroes, and thanks for working in healthcare. It's amazing. So yeah, guys, basically I don't know, like Shan said, why is this Sheena's entire storyline this season, sorry, Lala's entire storyline this season, especially when she's got that man who allegedly runs around town cheating on her on the regular. Now I really want to know some of you guys' comments about Max. Delayed side. I like to tell people I told you so. So I'm on this. I'm Team Max. Ouch. Sheena's always living in an alternative universe. I would have slapped him for telling me that. Yeah. Okay. So I see. You guys were not really kind of into that as well. If Max says something, it's because he knows a lot. My friend's ex-boyfriend's mother told her she should break up the son because she knows how her son is. See, I like people who are honest about that because there are some people where I'd be like, if you had a girlfriend and she asked me about you, I would tell her the damn truth about you, like, because you hate to see someone go through things with like someone that is just not good, in general as a person. So, you guys, Raquel's sister. Oh, speaking of people who will tell you the damn truth, I loved Raquel's sister. This is her face when James's mom was like excusing his BS. He tells a story about sending Raquel to the restaurant with a gift and stuff. And, the sister's like, what? You said all of these nasty things to your friend? Like, what the heck? And my sister has to clear up your mess. She was disturbed by it, and rightfully so. I really appreciated her realness with Raquel. It was awesome. My message to Raquel is, listen, girl, I know you love this guy and stuff, but if literally everybody around you is telling you that you're kind of making some sort of a mistake or that he's not a good person, you're seeing his relationships with literally everybody, his boss, his friends, his exes, like they're all toxic and like they end in such a bad, explosive way. You might want to, have the same expression that your sister has and just walk away before he takes you down too, because I really do believe that eventually Raquel is going to suffer as a result of choosing to stay with this guy that, has shown her time and time again that he's just not a good person, that he's got too many issues. By the way, what the hell was Raquel wearing this episode? What is this? What is this, honey? What is it? Seriously. What is it? Like, it looks like some Shakespearean cosplay or something like that. This outfit, it was a mess. No worries, Shay. We got it. You are a working woman. No problem. Kimberly says Max was an addict, right? Addicts, no addict. Ooh, good question. I have no idea if he was an addict. I just know that he wasn't doing well at a certain point on the Housewives of Beverly Hills. I agree. Raquel should not have had to fix it. Yup. Oh my God, Grace. I was thinking the same thing. What the hell is she wearing? Right? It looks like so freaking heavy. Ugh, not a fan. So, what happens next? Okay, can we get into, and look at me, breaking my no wine rule. It's like 10 minutes left in the live stream. Let me have a sip, y'all. It's getting warm. Do you guys notice how airbrushed Lisa Vanderpump is? Just look. Look at how airbrushed she is. Like, she looks like one of those Renaissance paintings kind of come to life, the airbrush thing that people are doing on TikTok these days. And the airbrushing is so bad that it covers into her hair. If you look at her hair, it's blurry. It makes me laugh. It's so like obvious. Like, look, you'll see Katie. She's got real skin texture of a person because she's not blurred. Then they'll cut to Lisa. So anytime she talks to anybody, pay close attention to how blurry Lisa is. Actually, if you go back and watch this episode, at the beginning of the sit down between Katie and Lisa, and I forgot to get a screen grab, they forgot to blur Lisa's face so you could see her natural skin. Like, she's a woman of a particular age, of a particular complexion or whatever. So it's natural for her to be aging the way that she is. It's fine. It's okay. But she won't accept it. She's like, you know what? If you're going to put me on this damn show, get me in all these people's business, blur me up, and I demand it. That's an order. It's just so crazy to me. So Shan and I were kind of talking about this a little bit earlier, but she talks to Katie about her conception journey. And again, like I said earlier, I didn't like the way that she kind of asked Katie about it. She's like, why was Tom getting a semen sample if you guys aren't trying? Who the hell told you I wasn't trying, Miss Blur Filter? Who told you, Blurry McGee, that I was not trying to have a child with my husband? Were you in our bed? Were you there when Tom Sandoval came and gave him a face guard to protect his eyes from the jerk off? Like, come on. Oh, so some of you guys let me put that picture back up of Raquel's crazy outfit. Yeah, you guys were not feeling it either. Shan wants a blur filter like Lisa's got. These are just the perks. These are just the damn perks. So, sorry, let me take down this photo. Tati says, James is a verbally abusive person. Why would you get engaged to someone like that? Without him going to counseling. It's desperation and it's low self-esteem. I think that Raquel might be desperate for maybe a wife title, and I certainly think that she has low self-esteem. I feel like she's kind of admitted on a couple of episodes for a couple of seasons now that she does have low self-esteem. And says Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah, Airbrush isn't friendly to her. LOL. It's so obvious. Yes, and it's true. These are red flags, Raquel, and she just does not get it. She just doesn't see it. It's crazy. It really is crazy. And hi, Tasha. Thanks for being here, girl. So what happens a little bit after that? So Katie, Ariana, the two Toms, and Lisa all kind of sit down to talk about whether or not Katie can be involved with the restaurants. And, Lisa, obviously, like Shan said a little bit earlier, was stirring the pot a lot this episode. And so she's like, so is Katie going to have a role at the restaurant? I think she should have a role, knowing full well that Sandoval cannot stand her. And then she goes in a little confessional and acts like she didn't mean to kind of like drop that bomb out there. She's like, me? Is it me? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. Maybe I am the villain. Like, she really acted like she did not intentionally put that out there for Sandoval to rail Katie with. So, first of all, did you guys notice how weak Schwartz's rally for Katie was? When Lisa asked, like, if she's going to be involved, he's like, like, Katie, like, has been putting herself out there, offering to, like, help us with training and stuff. And I know she's not social, so I appreciate her volunteering. That's the best you can come up with for your own wife. Not, yes. Katie has this experience. She grew up in restaurants. Her mom used to own one. She's got more experience than Sandoval, myself, Ariana, blah, blah, blah. She can do this, and she's doing this. She's doing this. She needs this. He really cannot care less about this poor woman. And that kind of makes me sad that she's trying to have a baby with this disloyal man. He's so disloyal. He really is. Amaya says Sandoval in his smoke break. Yeah, I was amazed that he was actually even smoking. Like, damn. It's been a while since I've seen him smoke on camera. Shannon Van, the way he was telling her when she cannot wear her ring speaks volumes. He controls her every move. Right? That is very true, Chevy Lang. Yeah, the dynamic is so off. It's so toxic between James and Raquel. I hope for her own good that she does not marry him because he's not a good person. He's not a good guy for her. So, of course, Sandoval is not into the idea of Katie being involved in the restaurant, and he's still upset about her telling him that the name is uninspired. Remember, it was Schwartz that threw her under the bus with that. Schwartz, who did not go to bat for her. Right now, for the millionth time when he has the opportunity, Sandoval brings up a reason why he doesn't want Katie doing it, and it's because of something that Schwartz set her up on. And Schwartz did not take responsibility for that at the table to protect her. And so then after that, Sandoval brings up Katie yelling at him in front of customers for Stassi's book signing and everything. And Ariana and Katie are like, dude, can you come up with something new? That was like 6 years ago. Get over it. It happened. Get over it. You are grasping onto straws at this point. And so sensing that no one, not even sensing, but realizing that no one at the table was supporting him in his kind of like ban on Katie participating in the restaurant, Sandoval storms off on his own to have a little bit of a cigarette and calm down. This is what Amaya is referring to in her comment here. Like, he's like, you know what? puff off. Let me get this kind of nicotine to calm me down. And I noticed that Ariana didn't go after him and she didn't defend him. I'm not saying she had to defend him because you know what? She has her own perspective, which is that he needs to let it go and everything. But I felt like it kind of spoke volumes a little bit too that, like, listen, I don't know. Maybe she's getting bored of him and his theatrics. What do you guys think? By the way, Shannon Van, go check out her channel, Shannon Van. She's got a poll running, and I really want to see how it ends. And she's asking which of the Toms is worse. Please go vote in that poll. I really want to know you guys' opinions because this is something I'm wondering too. We're always debating on this, the two of us. Chevy Lynn says, in my opinion, Katie's house is on the line. I agree. She should be involved in a little, if any. Plus, would you trust your husband if it was Schwartz with your house on the line? That's a good point. They need to save that house, and Schwartz is not going to be the one to save that house. They need Katie. And like Katie said, she grew up in restaurants, you know, so like she gets it. And hopefully she just continues to work on her personality and her attitude because it was very off-putting. It was very toxic. She was a big bully for a long time, for many seasons. So I get, you know, why Sandoval would be skeptical about it. Here's an example. She kind of pushed James out of his See You Next Tuesday events. And then she's like, you know, we're going to host something else to make up for it, Lisa. Don't worry. We're going to have a girls' night. And she only hosted one event. And after that, she quit. She's like, I don't want to do this. Like, this isn't my thing. Like, so I get like him being distrustful of her because she does seem at least a little bit lazy, you know, or a little bit vengeful and a little bit mean and negative. Shan says, I loved Ariana in this scene. I can't believe how likable she is this season. Yeah, she's really kind of coming into her own a little bit because I'll be the first to tell you, I always felt like Ariana was a miserable hag. But this season, she kind of is kind of, you know, letting loose a little bit. And I like that. Amaya, good point. Ariana isn't the type to defend someone just because she loves them. It's true. And I think that is a very good quality. Another sip for me, you guys, because that is it. Ooh, a couple more comments before I skedaddle over here. But Chevy Lynn, I personally can't determine which Tom is worse. Sometimes I feel bad for Schwartz because I see him as easily manipulated. I feel like he manipulates us into believing that he's weak. I feel like he's one of those wolf in sheep's clothing. I respect that about Ariana. Yeah, Katie has been bullied and steamrolled husband into getting married. Bullied everybody. It seems like Katie just lacks any kind of purpose in her life. She really kind of, you know, for a long while there, even right now, they're saying, what was she doing throughout the pandemic but building Legos, not launching any kind of a project or anything like that. It's a little, you know, yeah, I get it. And please, yeah, guys, if you guys like the stream, please make sure to give it a like on your way out. I am about to sign off here. Thank you so much to Shan for being here and for calling in. Hopefully I can get you on another episode. We could do another recap. And thank you to all of you for joining and sharing all of your opinions. As always, it has been so fun getting to discuss the episode with you. And I'll see you again next time. Thank you so much for watching, and until next week. Bye, guys.